The captive's fear. The cold metal floor bit into her skin through the thin, synthetic fabric of her suit. She shivered, not from the chill, but from the weight of fear crushing her chest. Shackled by shimmering restraints that pulsed faintly, tethering her limbs to the cold interrogation chamber wall, she sat hunched, trembling, every nerve screaming in anticipation. She had been captured by humans. Her mind raced, memories flashing unbidden, whispers of what humans were capable of. Stories from her home world, passed down like legends of horror, told of their cruelty, of torture, of pain beyond imagining. The humans had been silent predators in the dark reaches of space for too long, and now here she was, their prisoner. Her large eyes, iridescent and filled with tears she fought to contain, darted to the narrow slit of the chamber's door. Faint metallic creak announced a presence, and her breath hitched. The room was bare, save for cold steel and the hum of life support machinery. No windows, no escape. The door slid open slowly. A human stepped inside. He was tall, with sharp eyes that seemed to pierce the dimness. But there was no weapon in his hand, no harsh commands. Instead, he moved with calm, almost cautious respect. His gaze locked on hers, and for a moment she expected the worst. The human paused a few steps inside, then spoke softly, in broken but clear, galactic basic. "Do not fear. I mean no harm." Her heart hammered. No harm. Torture was all she'd prepared for. The thought that this creature might offer anything else was impossible. The tales were true. Humans were ruthless. But he didn't strike. He just watched. Slowly, the human reached into a small device strapped to his belt and pressed a button. A subtle glow pulsed from the restraints binding her wrists. She stiffened, but the glow did not burn or tighten. Instead, it softened, like warm light bathing her skin. The human spoke again, his voice calm and steady. "This will ease your pain. You will not be hurt here." Her breath caught. The restraints were not weapons of pain, but tools of care. Tentatively, he pressed another, a button. A thin, gentle mist rose from the device, swirling around her wrists. Warmth spread, chasing away numbness and aching. The alien woman blinked, confusion and disbelief battling in her mind. "You expect cruelty," the human said, "but humans can show kindness too." Her eyes searched his face for any hint of deception, but there was none. Just sincerity. And then the human stepped closer. He held a small instrument, like a smooth, glowing rod. Instead of pain, a soft vibration hummed from it. "Pleasure," he said simply. The word shocked her. Pleasure, from a human. Her instinct screamed to resist, but curiosity won a fragile victory. The human pressed the device gently against her arm. Warmth spread, not just physical, but something deeper. A surge of unfamiliar sensation traveled through her body, stirring emotions she didn't expect. Conflicted, she let herself relax for a moment, tasting the unexpected comfort. "You are more than a prisoner," the human whispered. "You are a guest, and a mystery I want to understand." Her fear did not vanish, but it shifted. Confusion and a fragile hope replaced pure terror. Suddenly the door hissed open again. Another human entered. A woman, older, sharper-eyed. Her gaze flicked to the alien and the human before her. "Status report," she demanded. The man turned. "She is responding. No signs of distress. I believe she is curious." The woman scoffed. "Curious? She's a captive. Keep her restrained. Don't let her forget." The tension snapped like a taut wire. The alien's heart plunged back into dread, but the first human raised a hand. "No, we learn through connection, not fear." The woman stared at him, hard, before nodding reluctantly. The alien's eyes met the first human's again. For the first time since capture, she saw a glimmer of something else. Empathy. The chamber's cold walls felt less suffocating. Her journey, terrifying and uncertain, had begun. Unraveling truths. The chamber door slid shut behind the two humans, leaving the alien woman alone with her swirling thoughts, and a faint pulse of warmth lingering where the human's device had touched her arm. She blinked, trying to make sense of the sensation. The cold terror she'd felt moments ago hadn't vanished. It had only shifted into something more complicated. Fear tangled with curiosity. Suspicion wrestled with an odd flicker of hope. She wasn't sure what to believe anymore. Her restraints loosened just enough to allow her to flex her fingers, but they still held her firmly in place. The soft hum of the ship's engines vibrated through the floor, steady and constant. The alien's large eyes scanned the dimly lit corridor beyond the chamber window. She could see humans moving past, their shapes blurring with haste. Something was happening aboard this ship, a quiet urgency in the air. Her mind drifted back to the man who had offered her unexpected kindness, the one who had spoken softly, with calm conviction, telling her she was a guest and not a prisoner. Who was he? Why did he defy the expectations she'd held for humans all her life? Her thoughts were interrupted by a sudden beep from the control. The panel beside her restraints. The panel displayed a grainy, flickering hologram, the same human man speaking with someone she couldn't see. "She's responding to the stimuli as expected," his voice said. "No signs of distress. More than that, she's curious. She asked questions about our technology, our purpose." Another voice responded, harsh, clipped, and full of impatience. "Curious, she's an alien. Don't let your sympathy cloud the mission. Our priority is containment and study, no distractions." The man's reply was firm but calm. "Understanding is not distraction. It's necessary." The hologram flickered off. The alien's breath hitched. She strained to catch every word, her mind racing. Understanding, not torture. Could humans really be so different from the stories? Her eyes fell to the strange symbols etched onto the floor near her shackles, reminders of her imprisonment. The line between captor and caretaker blurred. Minutes passed, then hours. The alien lay back against the cold wall, exhaustion pressing down. She closed her eyes and let the memories flood in. Her life before capture, the quiet beauty of her home planet, the moment the humans took her. She remembered the first encounter, the sudden lights, the overwhelming power of their ship, the confusion and panic as she was dragged aboard. She had braced for pain, for endless torment. Instead, she had found a man who spoke softly, who offered something she could barely understand. She opened her eyes as the door hissed again. This time, the man entered alone. He carried a small tray with a few items, a translucent container of liquid, a delicate-looking device that resembled a musical instrument, and a book of images, pictures of stars, planets, and strange creatures. He placed the tray on a small table and sat opposite her, careful to keep his distance. "You seem different from what I expected," he said quietly, studying her face. The alien narrowed her eyes, wary. "Different?" she whispered in her own language, surprised at the sound of her voice after so long in silence. "Yes," the human replied. "You show fear, yes, but also intelligence, curiosity, even compassion. These are traits I respect." She looked down at the liquid container. "What is that?" "Water. It's safe to drink. Your body needs it." Hesitantly, she took the container and sipped. The liquid was cool and refreshing, something she hadn't realized she craved. "Thank you," she said, her voice soft. The human smiled faintly. "You're welcome." He reached for the book of images, flipping to a page showing a bright blue planet with swirling white clouds. "This is Earth," he said. "My home." The alien's eyes widened. She'd heard of Earth, of course, but never seen it. The images were beautiful, almost like art. "Why am I here?" she asked, her voice trembling. The human hesitated. "Because you are different. You represent a mystery we want to understand, but not just for study. There's something about you that gives hope." She tilted her head, confused. "Hope," she repeated. "Yes. In all our history, humans have faced darkness, fear, and hatred, but we have survived by learning to trust, to build bridges, even with those very different from us." She looked at him, searching his eyes for truth. "Can you be trusted?" she asked, voice barely a whisper. He met her gaze steadily. "I want to earn your trust." The alien felt a flicker of something she hadn't allowed herself in a long time: hope. Before she could respond, the door hissed again. 2 other humans entered. One was tall and stern, the other shorter with an expression she couldn't read. "Time for a test," the stern one said, eyes cold. The human who had been speaking to her rose. "This is unnecessary," he protested softly. The shorter human smirked. "You're too soft. We need answers. Now." The alien's heart sank, but the man said firmly, "There are better ways." The stern human glared at him. "You're risking everything." "I'm risking nothing but your distrust," he replied. The tension in the room was thick. Suddenly, the alien realized the humans were not a single united force. There were divisions, disagreements, even conflicts. The man who had shown her kindness looked at her and whispered, "Stay calm. We will find the truth together." And just before the door slid closed, she caught a whispered phrase from the stern human: "Contain the alien and prepare for possible hostile intervention." Her pulse quickened. Hostile intervention! What threat could come for her and the humans aboard this ship? The alien knew her journey was far from over. Trust would be fragile. Danger would lurk close. But, for the first time, she dared to wonder, could humans be more than their feared reputation? Their feared reputation, fragile alliance. The low hum of the spaceship's engines filled the silence as the alien woman sat quietly in the dim chamber, her mind a storm of emotions. The warmth left by the human's device lingered faintly on her skin, a subtle reminder that not all humans were what she feared. The man who had shown her kindness was no longer just a captor. He was something else, something she couldn't yet name. The door hissed open again, and the tall, calm man stepped inside. "I'm Dr. Elias Wren," he said, his voice steady but gentle. "I know this situation is difficult. For both of us." The alien blinked, studying him cautiously. "Why are you helping me?" He sighed, looking around before answering. "Because understanding you, your people, is vital. Not just for science, but for survival." She frowned. "Survival? What do you mean?" Elias hesitated, then said, "There are forces beyond us, threats to both our species. We may be enemies now, but the universe is bigger than that." The alien's chest tightened. The weight of her fear returned, mingled with a fragile thread of hope. "Can I trust you?" she asked quietly. He met her gaze. "Trust must be earned. I'm willing to try." For the first time since her capture, she allowed herself to relax. A little. A shared moment. Elias moved to the tray beside her, picking up the small device, the one that emitted the strange, pleasant vibration. He activated it again, and the soft warmth spread across her arm. "It's a way to ease pain, yes, but also a way to connect," he explained. "Some sensations are universal." The alien closed her eyes, letting the warmth flow through her, calming her restless thoughts. It was a moment of peace in the chaos. When she opened her eyes, Elias showed her the book of images again. He pointed to a star cluster. "This is the Andromeda sector," he said. "We've been exploring it for years." Her eyes traced the constellations, feelings of awe mixing with homesickness. "Your people know much about the stars?" she asked. He smiled faintly. "We try, but there's still so much unknown." They talked quietly, sharing fragments of their worlds, their fears, their hopes. the unseen. Threat. Suddenly the ship jolted. Alarms blared, red lights flashing violently. Elias's face hardened. Something's wrong. The chamber door slid open abruptly, and two armed humans burst in. Attack! One shouted. Enemy ships approaching fast! Elias helped the alien to her feet. We need to move! She felt a surge of adrenaline, fear sharpening her senses. Where? She demanded. To the command deck, he replied. We must work together. The alien hesitated, then nodded. On the move, they moved through narrow corridors, alarms echoing all around. The ship shook violently as it dodged incoming fire. Elias explained as they ran, These ships, they want something we have, something dangerous. The alien's mind raced. Was this why she was captured? Was she bait in a larger conflict? They reached the command deck, a room filled with holographic displays and focused humans working frantically. Elias turned to a young officer. Prepare defenses. Focus on evasive maneuvers. The officer nodded and worked quickly. The alien watched the screens, ships closing in, weapons charging. Fear clenched her heart. But Elias was calm. He glanced at her. Stay here. I need to coordinate. She nodded, but something inside her stirred. She wasn't just a captive now, she was part of this fight. An uneasy partnership. Hours passed, the battle raging in bursts of light and sound. Elias returned, exhausted but determined. We're holding them off, he said, but it's only a matter of time before they breach. The alien's gaze hardened. We must find out who they are, he nodded. Agreed. I have access to some classified data. Together, they pored over encrypted files. What they uncovered shocked them both. A shadowy faction seeking to control. Advanced alien technology, including her own species' secrets. Trust builds. Despite the danger, the alien and Elias found themselves sharing more than strategy. They shared stories, fears, and glimpses of hope. She began to see humanity not as monsters, but as complex beings capable of kindness. And Elias saw in her not a threat, but a potential ally. Perhaps even a friend. Their fragile alliance was born from necessity, but it carried something deeper. Cliffhanger. Suddenly, a message interrupted their discussion. Captain to Dr. Wren. Intruder alert in the lower decks. Elias's face went pale. An intruder? Here? He looked at the alien. We need to move, now! Shadows in the ship. The urgent alarm still echoed faintly in the background as Elias grabbed a compact weapon from a nearby rack. His eyes locked on the alien, and he nodded once. We move fast, he said. The alien nodded back, a new determination, hardening her. Fear had once ruled her, but now survival demanded courage and trust. They slipped through narrow corridors lined with glowing panels and pulsing conduits. Every shadow seemed alive with threat. The ship groaned as it dodged and weaved through the ongoing battle outside. Elias led the way, carefully checking corners and motion sensors. The alien followed silently, her senses sharp. Where exactly is the intruder? She asked quietly. Lower decks, near the cargo hold, Elias replied. Could be a spy, saboteur, or worse. Their footsteps echoed softly in the dim passageways. The tension was palpable. The cargo hold. They arrived at the cargo hold entrance. The heavy blast doors were sealed shut. Elias tapped a code on the panel. The doors hissed open. Inside, the hold was dim and vast, filled with crates and mysterious containers. A low hum vibrated through the air. Suddenly, a shadow moved near the far end. Stop! Elias called, weapon raised. The shadow froze, then turned. A figure emerged, a tall humanoid in a dark uniform, face obscured by a mask. Who are you? Elias demanded. The figure stepped forward slowly, hands raised in a gesture of peace. I'm not your enemy, the figure said, voice modulated but calm. Elias lowered his weapon slightly, but remained wary. The alien tensed beside him. the unexpected ally. The figure removed the mask, revealing sharp features and piercing eyes that were unmistakably human, but different. "My name is Kira. I'm part of a resistance within the human fleet," she said. Elias frowned. "Resistance? Against who?" "Against those who would use power to destroy," Kira answered. "We believe the faction attacking this ship seeks control over alien technology to dominate the galaxy." The alien woman stared at Kira, suspicion burning. "How can we trust you?" she asked, voice steady but cautious. Kira smiled faintly. "Because I want the same thing as you, to stop the threat." Elias looked between them. "If what you say is true, we must work together." A plan forms. Kira pulled out a small holographic device projecting a map of the ship and surrounding space. "The attackers are using cloaked vessels," she explained. "They won't show up on normal scanners." Elias nodded. "We need to find their command ship and disable it." The alien pointed to a blinking dot on the map. "That area. It's near where I was captured." Kira's eyes widened. "They're closer than we thought." The trio worked quickly, devising a plan to sneak aboard the enemy command ship using a small shuttle hidden in the cargo hold. Tensions. Riser's preparations continued. Tensions flared between Elias and Kira. "You're reckless," Elias said sharply. "We can't trust anyone." "And you're too cautious," Kira shot back. "We risk everything by waiting." The alien watched silently, sensing the fragile lines beneath their cooperation. But when the ship shuddered violently, all disagreements vanished. The attack, the ship rocked under heavy impact. Lights flickered. "Brace!" Elias shouted. The alien clung to the wall, heart pounding. Outside, the battle intensified. Kira grabbed the alien's arm. "It's time!" Together they moved toward the shuttle bay, cliffhanger as the shuttles. Hatch sealed behind them. A sudden explosion rocked the ship. Red lights flashed. Alarms screamed. Through the viewport, the alien saw enemy ships swarming closer. Elias gritted his teeth. "This is only the beginning." Into the enemy's heart, the shuttle shook violently as the enemy ships closed in. The alien gripped the armrest, her wide eyes reflecting the flashing red lights and distant stars racing past. Elias piloted with steady hands, but his jaw was tight, every muscle ready for the unknown. Beside her, Kira adjusted the controls, scanning for signs of the enemy command ship. "According to the intel, it should be close," Kira muttered. "But their cloaking tech makes it almost impossible to find." The alien swallowed hard. This was no longer about escape or survival. It was about facing the enemy head-on, the cloaked enemy. Suddenly, the shuttle's sensors beeped wildly. "Contact!" Kira announced, zooming in on a faint blip barely visible on the screen. "Enemy command ship," Elias said grimly. "Time to move." They maneuvered the shuttle closer, the alien's heart pounding in her chest. She remembered her people's legends, stories of alien invaders using cruel torture and domination. But these humans, they were fighting to protect, to understand, and maybe to change everything. Boarding the command ship, the shuttle docked. With a hiss, the doors opened to a cold metallic corridor. They moved cautiously, weapons drawn but ready for any sign of life. The corridors were dimly lit, silent but for their footsteps. Elias whispered, "Stay alert. They could be anywhere." The alien nodded, her senses sharpening. She noticed strange symbols etched into the walls, signs of a hostile presence, uncovering secrets. They reached the central chamber, where holographic displays showed complex star, maps, and weapon schematics. Kira stepped forward, pulling up files. "They're planning a massive strike against multiple planets, including Earth." The alien's heart skipped. Earth, her captor's home, was in danger. "We must stop this," Elias said fiercely. Suddenly the room darkened. Lights flickered. The enemy revealed from the shadows stepped a figure, cloaked and imposing. "You shouldn't have come," the figure said in a cold, modulated voice. Elias raised his weapon, but the alien stepped forward. "Why do you seek destruction?" she demanded. The figure laughed. "Because power belongs to the strongest. Your fragile alliances won't save you." A fierce battle erupted. The alien fought with agility and skill, drawing on instincts she thought lost. Elias and Kira worked together, their trust in each other growing despite their differences. The turning point. The alien managed to disable the enemy's weapon controls. "Buying time, we can end this," she said, breathless but determined. Elias nodded. Together, they raced back to the shuttle, enemy reinforcements closing in. The alien's mind flashed with hope that humans and aliens could survive this darkness side by side. Cliffhanger. Just as the shuttle doors sealed behind them, a massive explosion shook the ship. Elias shouted, "We're hit! Brace for impact!" The shuttle plummeted into a nearby asteroid field, the stars blurring as they fought for control. Beyond fear, a new beginning. The shuttle slammed against the jagged surface of an asteroid, throwing Elias, Kira, and the alien woman against their restraints. Dust filled the cramped cabin as the engines died with a shuddering groan. For a moment all was silence, except for their ragged breaths. Elias unbuckled quickly, eyes scanning the fractured asteroid belt visible through the cracked viewport. "We're alive," he said, voice taut but relieved. "For now." The alien slowly sat up, her limbs aching but unbroken. She met Elias's gaze, then Kira's, and a quiet understanding passed between them. They had survived the impossible, not by weapons or power, but by trust. Facing the aftermath outside, the vastness of space stretched endlessly, a cold reminder of their vulnerability. Kira moved to the control panel, attempting to establish a signal. "We're off the main grid. It'll take time to call for help." Elias nodded. "We have to hold on until then." The alien looked at the stars, feeling an unfamiliar sensation. Hope. Her people had feared humans as merciless torturers, but Elias had shown her something else. Compassion, resilience, and an unexpected pleasure in connection. The lesson of trust. Days passed as they repaired the shuttle and awaited rescue. They talked not just about survival, but about their worlds, fears, and dreams. The alien shared stories of her home planet, its beauty and struggles. Elias spoke of humanity's endless quest for meaning and understanding. Kira revealed the fractured nature of their own kind, humans torn between greed and hope. Together, they forged a bond stronger than fear. The return. Home. When the rescue ship finally arrived, it was not just a mission to retrieve survivors. It was the beginning of something new, a fragile alliance between two very different species. The alien woman looked back at the stars, then at the humans, who had changed her perception. "I feared torture," she whispered. "But you showed me pleasure in kindness, in trust, in hope." Elias smiled gently. "Sometimes the greatest discoveries aren't in the stars, but in each other." Epilogue. A message for the future back on Earth. The story of their survival became a legend, not of war or conquest, but of understanding. Their alliance inspired others across galaxies to seek peace, to look beyond fear, and to embrace the unknown with open hearts. And in that quiet space between worlds, humanity truly shone. End of story.